Hey, good Friday evening, everyone. How's everyone doing out there? Welcome to On the Ring Apron. This is Steve.
I'm Kia.
And we appreciate all of you guys that are going to come out and, watch us this evening. A lot of fun things happening here as we start getting ourselves ready. We're 2 weeks away, just a little bit over from Money in the Bank, the next pay-per-view coming up. Got our briefcases above us. We're looking forward to another fun event. The matches continue to start setting themselves up for the 2 briefcase matches, as well as a couple of title matches that are going to get set up. A lot of things happening in the wrestling world today, and of course SmackDown ending tonight with, of course, the 25-year anniversary of Triple H, his contributions that he's made throughout WWE, both as a competitor as well as the COO and everything else that he's done with the company. He's done great things. We're going to get a chance to hit that up here in a little bit. But we wanted to make sure that everybody had time to get themselves settled in. It's been a relatively long week as the COVID-19 stuff continues to keep going on. I hope everybody's continuing to stay safe out there.
Yep, me too.
So let's go ahead and let's get right into the fun things that happened this week. We start off with what happened on Monday Night Raw this week, opening up with Drew McIntyre going ahead and accepting or challenging Seth Rollins to a match for his WWE Championship at Money in the Bank, accepted by the Monday Night Messiah. We had a little mention last week that we thought this would be one that would potentially, be saved until SummerSlam, but they're going to go ahead and do it now. I don't know if that's maybe just due to a lack of star power or a lack of people that are there, but we'll see where they run with it.
I feel like it's kind of soon to be doing it, but like you said, it's lack of star power, or it could be something else and we just don't know. So. Yeah.
And also considering that, they're trying to still keep everybody safe, Seth's acceptance being done by a pre-taped segment where he's sitting, we assume, at his house or in some undisclosed location. But the fact is they're going to have Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. I can't picture them taking the title off Drew this early, but, it is Seth, and, Seth does typically bring in some better ratings.
But you have to understand, you've got 2 good competitors in there, 2 people who are willing to fight over the same title, and with that being said, I mean, as much as I feel like Drew was deserving when he won at the Royal Rumble and then took it from Brock, I feel like, Seth, with him being who he is, could pull anything out of the hat. So I feel like it's possible that Drew could lose it.
So we've got that set up. I know you immediately followed up by the number one thorn in his ass, Zelina Vega. A fantastic segment if you didn't see it. Some definite put the kids to bed. Hopefully they're away by now, but some definite sexual tension between the two of them. So we'll let that go. But you can go back watch the film. Number one thorn in my ass. It hashtagged. It trended for a little while. But, continuing, and it looks like Vega's now setting up her stable with Andrade, Austin Theory, and Angel Garza now being a very legitimate threat, even going with the whole, Shield pose.
That insulted me a little bit, but, with the Shield being disbanded, I guess pretty much at this point anybody can use.
Well, one works for another company, one making the health-conscious choice to stay at home, and Seth just frankly doesn't care right now. If anything, Seth wants that Shield group to kind of lay out Drew for a little while. But, Drew doing his thing later on, defeating Austin Theory later on in the evening, despite a little bit of interference from the outside crew. But they are really doing their best to build Drew up as a really strong, very powerhouse champion. And he's honestly, in my opinion, doing a very good job of staying ahead of things even though there's no crowd.
I agree. I feel like you have... Again, he's deserving. I'm going to keep saying that until the cows come home. I feel like he's deserving, and with him being who he is, he seems like a very fighting champion. He's willing to take on anyone at any time, and then you saw what happened after Mania, 25 minutes after he was challenged for his title, and, so I feel like with that being said, anything is likely to happen, but honestly, Drew is going to make it happen.
And I like the idea that they're trying to build up a champion, and this is something that's kind of relatively new to Raw because you figure that Raw has had to, deal with Brock being champion for such a long period of time. There hasn't even been a WWE champion on there, at least not one who's going to go out there and compete every week. Exactly. And I think that's what Drew's trying to set up, and I really do worry that, if they put the title on Seth, it might potentially go to that, not because Seth won't come out and fight, but because Seth will, play the heel role, sit at home. It's good to see them having a champion there.
Yeah.
Along with Drew in the setup with his match coming up with Rollins. They also made the Money in the Bank match for the men's side a little bit clearer. We had the 3 women last week that got themselves qualified for Raw this week. The men getting themselves in, it's Aleister Black, It is Apollo Crews and it's Rey Mysterio. That will be the 3 representatives in the men matches. All 3 very deserving.
I agree. I already have a favorite, and I know we're not doing a prediction show, but I'm pulling for Apollo Crews. Obviously, being a Georgia boy and who we are, I feel like for me, that's my pick. I can't speak for you.
Right.
But
well, if you want to see mine, you'll have to watch the prediction show in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
But a lot of big names in there. I do like the fact as well that they're really trying to build up Apollo. He has really gotten lost in the shuffle for the last 2 years or so. He had a good run with NXT.
Well, it's not just he got lost in the shuffle. It's just they've put him with different people, and it worked for a little bit, and now it's not, and he's ready to go for his title run. I feel like what should be starting as a title run with using Money in the Bank.
So you add him in with the competitor who won from SmackDown last week, Daniel Bryan. We did have one more person that got himself in. We'll get to that when we get to the SmackDown portion. And also another match that we wanted to make sure that we take the time to bring up. Liv Morgan's match against Ruby Riott. Finally really bringing an end to the Riott Squad storyline here. Of course, everyone is probably aware by now, and if you're not, sorry. Spoiler alert. 3, 2, 1. Okay, time's up. You've had time to change your mind. Sarah Logan getting released by WWE, but they're actually kind of making it into a little bit of a story. A lot of backstage folks wondering, if she might potentially get brought back because they're still letting her be part of the storylines for the moment. But they let Liv and Ruby have a good match, and it ends up being a fantastic one with a little bit of a surprise, Liv going over.
Hey, I know that's what people want to see. I feel like, again, I don't feel like she's been lost in the shuffle. I think she's been put with people, and, the people that she's been put with have been kind of put before her, and I feel like at this present moment, it's her time to shine. She literally showed that at the Rumble when, they did the chamber matches for the women. So I feel like, with that being said, I honestly want to see her get over. I want her to get pushed, and I want her to go for it.
One has to wonder, though, when is that going to end up resulting in her potentially getting into a championship match type of caliber, because she's obviously not going to be taking on Becky Lynch anytime soon. Right now, at the moment, Becky doesn't have a match. It's the belief is that she's battling an injury right now. Of course, she also could be honeymooning with Mr. Rollins for a little bit. Maybe why he wasn't there either. We don't judge. Y'all go have fun if you need to. But regardless, at the moment, Becky doesn't have a match that could potentially change in the next 2 weeks. And then, of course, the 3 representatives for the Raw women already decided, so that is going to eliminate Liv potentially winning Money in the Bank this year. But it is good to see that they're doing something with her. She's definitely over, as you can read on social media. So I'm glad they're doing something with her. We move on to NXT. A number of good results at NXT this week. They opened with the tag team match between Dakota Kai and Raquel against Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart. First of all, I need that little tank that Shotzi comes out in. I can just picture Cassius just riding around the house in a little tank.
With a little helmet on and a little
he loves hats. Anyone who looks at our Instagram, our personal ones, take a look. He wears hats like a demon. So,
yeah.
But Kai and Raquel going over in that match, I thought it was very well done. 3 matches that were set up for the interim Cruiserweight Championship tournament. The 2 that I want to really draw out, Jake Atlas defeating Drake Maverick in his match. They're really playing off this storyline of Drake Maverick's release from the company, understanding, the storyline being that Drake has to win the tournament in order to keep his job.
I feel like to me that's in poor taste that they would do something like that, knowing that what they know. So I'm not really too thrilled with that outcome.
I kind of agree, and understanding, Drew obviously has to kind of, I keep saying Drew, I meant Drake, my apologies. Drake has to, kind of go with the storyline as it's being written, and granted he's going to earn a couple extra weeks of pay because of it, or is this all something to where, he gives this very emotional speech that really, tore at your heartstrings, and then, maybe he shocks the world, comes out of nowhere, wins the Cruiserweight title, it would definitely get over. The Cruiserweight division hasn't really been over in quite some time. It'd be nice to...
it just kind of lost its glimmer. It's lost kind of...
Well,
its shine.
Well, at least for me, the last time that I remember a Cruiserweight title match being one that I actually got up and excited for was, go all the way back to WrestleMania 34, when you had Ali and Cedric Alexander.
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was very good.
You were going to be happy no matter who won, and they put on a great show. It was fantastic. Hey, Haley, we see you in there now.
Hi.
So it's good to see you, and we're actually glad they showed up. More about our 2 newcomers that just joined in here in a minute. But continuing on through NXT, we had of course, the Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae segment where they sat around their dinner table and basically Candice now hitting what's I'm sure going to be a very iconic line going forward. I'm not eating second anymore.
And honestly, I don't feel she should. And for me, I feel like she is the girl next door. She's the girl that's come in. She has done everything she's supposed to. She's gotten over with the fans. She's gotten over with the crowd. She is, to me, one of the people I want to see actually get her comeuppance, I guess, get what she deserves. And the fact that she has put everybody else before herself. Not so much saying Johnny, but yeah, she has put everyone before herself. And you get to a point, you just get tired of it. I mean, how would you feel?
Well, they specifically mentioned how they're going to be the first married couple to hold the men's and women's NXT championships at the same time. Definitely, obviously possible for Johnny. He's won it before.
Yeah.
Candice maybe a little bit more of an uphill climb considering the stacked women's division, including its current champion. But definitely has all the right mindset in place.
But we don't know what a heel Candice is like. So, we could say the nice Candice probably would have a problem. The heel Candice, we got to see a little bit of what she did when she interfered in the match with her and Ciampa. And she kind of low-blowed Ciampa. So, I mean, we're getting...
She low-blowed both of them, technically.
Well, but you understand she was helping her husband. But what I'm saying is, we're going to get to see heel Candice. And honestly, for me, I'm all about the heels. I have been since I've been started watching back in 2005.
Well, as we noted, we have to... start working her. She'll have to start working her way up towards getting to the NXT Women's Championship. And speaking of that particular title, it's currently being held, of course, by the Queen Charlotte Flair, the 12-time champion. She's going to have a very fun match coming up next week. This week, she will be her opponent for next week is Mia Yim. She actually got her match with Jessie Kamea, making her NXT television debut. Yim going over, but Jessie putting on a very good match and setting up the match for next week. Ironically, Charlotte's very first match in NXT was against Mia Yim, and now 5.5 years later, they're going to go at it again.
I'm excited to see. I cannot wait. I know we were there the first go round to see it, and hopefully, I know with her being here for a while, I feel like Mia has established herself as a wrestler, as a superstar, as someone who I feel like people who are like backing her, who want to see her win. She is pretty much like the underdog compared to Charlotte, who's been doing this for a minute now. So I want to see her. That's who I'm pulling for. That's my girl.
Right. So that should end up leading to a very good match. They're trying to put on a good show. Setting it up for next week. Also being set up for next week. The backstage or the match attack in the main event. Damian Priest coming out and hitting Keith Lee twice in the neck with what appeared to be a nightstick. So that now leads to Keith Lee putting up the North American Championship next week against Damian Priest. So we'll see where that ends up leading. And then we move to SmackDown tonight. Really the big storyline getting into it, of course, is starting to build its way towards Money in the Bank. You had two very big women's matches tonight. First, adding a women's qualifier for the ladder match. Lacey Evans going over Sasha Banks with a little bit more storyline getting added in there, is Bayley really being the cause of Sasha falling tonight.
We saw how that played out. I honestly feel like I love both women. How can you not? You have both women, strong women who I feel like are well-deserving, especially Sasha, going in there doing what they had to do, but also seeing that Lacey's not afraid to do the women's rights, and Sasha's not afraid to say, this is my time to shine. I'm going to do what I have to do. And then with the whole thing with Bayley and technically what I feel like was an interference or, interfering with the ref, I feel like, honestly, Sasha should have had the pin. But the way things worked out, it didn't happen that way. So how does Sasha feel? For me, I'd be angry.
Well, you can start feeling the tension starting to build up because you've got Sasha, now for the second time in a month having a match that she should have had one directly switch over because of something that Bayley did. And Bayley's saying, all the right things, but how long is Sasha going to continue to put up with this, especially now that Bayley has essentially eliminated Sasha from winning Money in the Bank?
I feel like there's more to that story than we're getting to see, but as it continues to build, we'll kind of have to, because we've seen it before where, they might be at end, and then, they're perfectly fine the next week.
Right.
So
the along with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, we also had the fifth representative of the men's match, which was King Corbin tonight going over Drew Gulak. Not necessarily a surprise. Corbin, a former winner, and he's got to be a little bit salty about missing out on his chance to cash in when he did the first time. But now Corbin not only wins, but also now has a new entourage.
Yes, Cesaro and Shinsuke. That's surprising. What happened to the Great Liberator? The
Liberator's holding gold right now. He's got other things to worry about.
He's holding gold. He won the title, but then was it I just needed both guys to get me there? Now I don't want nothing to do with them. That's just my take. Not saying that he's not deserving, but still.
But now we've got Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura following up Baron Corbin. You got to think that's got to greatly increase his odds of being able to win it. And then setting up next week's SmackDown, the final two places for each of the respective Money in the Bank ladder matches is going to be up. On the men's side, you're going to have a WrestleMania rematch, Dolph Ziggler against Otis. Probably the most heartfelt storyline from WrestleMania, getting a chance to rear its head again. Are we going to see the same result?
You saw me cry for that one. It's just heart. It's like heartfelt. It's touching, and I'm hoping Otis wins. But that's just me hoping. It could go another way.
Well, the interesting part behind that match was that Mandy ended up playing a direct role in Otis being able to win. Unfortunately, we know that won't be the case this time, because Mandy's got a little bit of business of her own to handle, as she is also going to try to qualify for Money in the Bank, as she will go one-on-one with Carmella. And speaking of Carmella, the other big women's match tonight, Carmella and Dana Brooke trying to take the women's tag team titles from Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. To me, this is just my personal opinion, a rather sloppy match between all of them. It didn't really look very crisp, didn't look like it was done. I understand during these times. But in the end, a new finisher, a tag team finisher for Cross and Bliss, and they're able to retain.
It looked good. Whatever the finisher was, it looked really good in my opinion. That was probably the only thing I think that kind of came out looking crisp and fresh, and like, you were not expecting it.
Well, you're going to end up, seeing, they wanted to portray it off like it was some kind of modified 3D when that was not the case. It ended up looking, it was basically Alexa Bliss's DDT while getting flapjacked by Nikki Cross. I like it. It's finally good to see a tag team finisher, which is sometimes one of the biggest things. The reason why a team like the Revival, when they were here, was over so much is because of their Shatter Machine finisher.
That's what it looked like to me. So I thought they were kind of using that with, that being the case. The Revival used it, so I figured out why can't they?
Well, the Revival technically not here anymore, so we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But and then of course ending SmackDown tonight with the 25-year anniversary of Triple H. Kind of poking a little fun at him tonight. Expressing his 13 WrestleMania losses. The gobbledygooker segment. His thing with. Oh goodness, I'm not even going to bring up that on our show. But if you just go back and look over some of the highlights and honestly some lowlights of Triple H's career, but I've been watching wrestling for as long as I can remember, and you got a chance to really start wrestling right about the time that Triple H was getting reunited with Shawn Michaels again with DX. And I can just vividly remember us. One episode we watched when we were still living in our old Morrow apartment, and it was the episode of Raw where just they tormented Vince McMahon all night
to no end,
and we were in stitches
it was hilarious.
all night. We were just in laughter. They don't make episodes like that anymore, unfortunately.
They don't, but what are we gonna do?
The reality is the man has put in the years, he's put in the time. You don't have to like the guy to respect the guy. I
said it before. I said I feel like he has gone from wrestler to COO, and in between going from wrestler to CEO, he knows he has a vision for everything. The wrestler is the superstar, his business, his family. He's got a vision. So with that being said, I feel like what they did tonight, despite a lack of crowd, I feel like he is well deserving. 25 years. 25.
Very few people do anything for 25 years other than live,
exactly.
I guess. But the fact is he's been doing this and was able, like you just said, very able to seamlessly go from competitor to a backstage hand. Still can compete when you need him to at WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, whenever you might need him.
Exactly.
But he puts in the time, he puts in the years. And I've had one person that's sitting in our audience right now that told me that I think I could pull off a nice Triple H cosplay, maybe something for the future. What do you guys think? You think I should give it a shot? I'd have to, does Just for Men go the other way? Can you silver a beard, or does it only work the other way?
I think you could silver a beard, but I don't know if Just for Men would do that for you. But
well, maybe it's Just for Old Men or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll come up with better jokes next week. I'll see myself out in a little bit. But the fact is, they're setting up for Money in the Bank, and we've been talking about it. There's no way to avoid it, this whole COVID-19 thing. But at the end of the day, they're doing their best to put on good shows.
Yeah.
They understand they're handcuffed because they can only get so many people there. They're still trying to adhere to very safeguarding guidelines here. So you want to make sure that your people are staying safe while at the same time still trying to put on a good show. They're doing the best they can. So while these are not going to be episodes that you're going to be remembering 10 years from now, but
the point,
they're doing the best they can.
But the point of it is, and this to me has the backings of Vince. Vince is going to put on a show no matter what, and I feel like
high water.
I feel like he's been doing that for some time. He did it for 9/11. He's doing it now. It's just like they're not going to sit him down and they're not going to make him be quiet because they're not going to run from anything. So if anything, I commend Vince on putting on the best show possible with what he has, and the fact that the superstars that are here are willing to work with what they have. So.
But, as they continue to build towards Money in the Bank, it's giving us plenty of things to talk about. It's giving us plenty of conversations. You guys are doing wonderful with, making sure that we're having plenty of topics to talk about. You guys are letting us know what you want to hear about. The Queen is getting her questions for Saturdays. We'll be talking about that here in a minute. But, we wanted to make sure we took the time tonight to discuss, a more fun segment for us tonight. You guys will certainly notice the shirts we have on this evening. This is not coincidence, but we're busting out two of our more classic Bailey shirts from her hugging days. And I'll just say for the record, I miss hugs. Damn, she can do that. We live together, so she can hug me. The rest of y'all can't. Virtual hugs. I'll take those though. But the reason we're busting these out tonight is for someone who's actually in our audience tonight, and someone who, really helped to push us to not just be the cosplayers that we've been on here, but also really gave us the motivation and whatnot to really create this show. This has been something that had been a brainchild of ours for a while, but we really didn't have the motivation to do it until her and her friend Haley started really pushing it out.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I know they've been very supportive of the show. They've come up with ideas and suggestions. They let us know, what they want to see, what, could be better and so forth. But you expect that from family. Family does that. So thank you both, Savannah and Haley.
Right, and that's what it's all about tonight. The reason we're busting out the Bailey shirts tonight is because Savannah, who's in our audience tonight, celebrating her 21st birthday. So happy birthday, girl! 21. Don't do anything stupid tonight.
Not without me. Not without me.
Yeah, she'll drive up there. Don't you cry none about that. But we're so thrilled that you guys took a minute from your birthday festivities to come in and join us. We love y'all so much. You guys can look them up there, Boston Hug Connection. There's an underscore in there somewhere, but they're very easy to spot. They've got tons of followers, so just search them. You'll love them. They bring tons of great content. They're in Bailey and Sasha costumes virtually all the time.
Exactly.
And they, they're just amazing. Cosplayers, but more importantly, they're just amazing people.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't have them in our lives. They wouldn't be the family that they are. And again, it was coincidence that we met both of them. The way we did. We just kind of were walking around and we're like, oh, they're such good cosplayers or whatever. Let's go get a picture. And of course, Steve pushed me to go get the picture because I was kind of nervous. I'm not gonna even lie. I was nervous, but with as well as they were dressed up, again, I'm nervous now, and we're family. But I actually got to meet them and enjoyed the actual, even if it was for a few minutes, to get a picture. Now we still have the picture if you want to. It's on our Instagram somewhere, so go ahead and
posted it up today to celebrate her birthday. So just
Exactly.
follow just look through our pictures that we put up today. You can see exactly who we're talking about.
Exactly. And with getting the picture, little did we know, we were going to be in the same row and the same section as both of them.
We literally sat down in our seats at WrestleMania 34, maybe 3 hours after we had met them in the store and gotten these cosplay pictures. We weren't even thinking about cosplaying at the time.
No.
And we look to our left and it's like, hold on a second. And I go flipping through the pictures and I'm like,
we had to do a double take.
Right, it's like we're sitting next to the same people. We just saw you a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
But what ended up being just a very happenstance meetup has turned into just an amazing friendship for us. And, you get on wrestling Twitter, wrestling Instagram, whatever you want to call it, you see people arguing and you see people fighting and you see people going through all this nonsense over stuff that in a majority of situations they may or may not have all the facts in place. We strive to try to change that. We want people to feel like, we can be friends on here. We have our differences. We have our people that we like, we have people we don't like, but at the end of the day, we're friends, and you've said it a couple of times in here. She and Haley have become family to us.
Exactly.
They've met our kids. They've spoken with us, more times than we can count. We talk on a daily basis for over 2 years now. So, Savannah, we know you're watching on the other end. We hope your birthday has been amazing today. Enjoy those Bailey plates.
Exactly.
I saw the reaction video. We hate that we can't be there with you tonight because it's been the plan for a couple of months, really since we saw when we went to Survivor Series. That was the plan, was to be there tonight. Obviously, we can't, but we're there in spirit. We love you.
Yeah, we do.
Enjoy your birthday. So that's going to wrap up our segment. We appreciate those of you watching who gave us an opportunity to kind of go over something a little more personal to us. Birthdays only come once a year, so we wanted to make sure that someone who has not just been a friend to us, but also someone who's been so supportive to this channel got a nice shout out from us. 2 important segments coming up tomorrow. We wanted to make sure we present them. First, kind of a nice change up here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a special plate exchange. A couple of new plates have come into my possession thanks to a nice little donor to our channel. A very surprise to say the least. But we've got some new plates to put on some belts. So join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. and then following at 2.
Oh,
that's your line.
Questions with the Queen will be at 2, so, make sure to have your questions ready. I will be willing to answer, and I can't wait to see you all.
Yep, so, again, 1 o'clock for me, 2 o'clock for her. Pick your favorite. But either way, like your shirts say, we can't hug anybody in person right now, but, send your virtual hugs. Tell your folks, tell your family, tell your friends, tell them you love them. We're still getting through this. We're hopefully, on the tail end, but we wanted to make sure that, you guys are staying safe out there, stay at home. And as you know, we're here 10:15 every Friday for On the Ring Aprons. We'll see you guys tomorrow for our show. Stay safe out there. We love you guys. We'll see you all later.
Love you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye. Happy birthday, Savannah.
That's right.
Bye.